P3-1. Okay, I hope you are in safe hands. I hope you're doing okay. So again, reminders, please answer the activities for P2 because our P2 exam, there will be no P2 written exams, but only we will only record your CS or class standing. So please submit the activities, quizzes, kumustahan. Okay. So you have until October 18 for that. Um, with regards to our P3, so today we will start our P1. Week 1 P3. Okay, so for today we will discuss on the indolence or the essay of Rizal on the indolence of Filipinos. Okay. So Dr. Rizal wrote the essay The Indolence of the Filipino. It was a response to the negative stereotype that Filipinos are indolent, a claim often perpetuated by Spanish colonizers. Okay? So based on your observations and experiences, do you believe that Filipinos are indolent? Okay. Again, support your answer with specific examples and counter arguments. And before we continue, please do answer connect kamustahan because that is your attendance for today's session. Okay, so sobra la indolencia de los Filipinos or on the indolence of the Filipino. Okay, so what is indolence? Okay, so identify if the following pictures illustrate indolence. One, a farmer resting under a tree, playing sambong on a Sunday. So for Rizal, why did Rizal wrote this essay? Number one, it was a response on the Spaniards constantly accused the Indios as lazy. This is the reason now why Philippines could not develop as a nation, and Rizal wanted to debunk this accusation. Okay? For Rizal, were Filipinos really lazy? Okay? We must confess that the indolence does actually and positively exist there. Only that instead of holding it to be the cause of backwardness and the trouble, regard it as the effect of the trouble and the backwardness by fostering the development of lamentable predisposition. So our being, if we have an indolence, it's not because it is part of our culture, but it is because of the Spaniards, of the of our colonial masters that caused those backwardness attitude. Okay, that is how Rizal saw it during his time. Okay, so what was the various responses by Rizal? One, how can you say that Filipinos are lazy if we work in a tropical climate wherein, according to him, an hour's work under that burning sun in the midst of the pernicious influences springing from nature and activity is equal to a day's work in a temporal climate. Okay? How can Europeans say that we are the lazy one if we work in a tropical climate that is very hot, that sometimes it is hazardous to work? Compare it to Europe wherein it is very cold, the temperature is mild, so it's easy to work, unlike in the Philippines. So how can you accuse us of being lazy? Okay. Number two, if you look at it, Filipinos are not lazy, but the Europeans. How? Because according to Rizal, who is the indolent one in the Manila offices? Is it a poor clerk who comes at 8 in the morning and leaves 1 in the afternoon? We only his parasol who copies and writes and works. Or the boss who comes at 10 o'clock, leaves before 12, and does nothing in the office. So who is the lazy one? Is it the boss who is a Spanish or the Filipino who works manual labor, who works all the essential work in the offices? Second, he also accumulated those indolence because not because of our culture, but because it was the mismanagement of the government, the Spanish colonial government. One, eh, im, imbes na ang Filipino noon ay magtanim, we were forced by the Spaniards to do polo y servicio, to work for free. So how can you accuse us of being indolent when you are forcing us to build ships, buildings, churches. Second, how can you work in a taxation that is so expensive that no profit can be accumulated to a Filipino? Next, rather than addressing the issue of polo servicio and taxation, expensive taxation, the Spaniards diverted the attention of the people by enforcing religion. And that if you question the authority, you are branded heretic or against God. So Filipinos were not inherently lazy, according to Rizal, because if you observe, pre-colonial people were very productive. One, we were trading with the Chinese, Japanese, and Indians. Second is our agriculture during that time was sustainable. And if you read the Chronicles of Pigapetta, one of his observations is that people or Filipinos have a mining system because he observed that pre-colonial Filipinos have already jewelries, gold. So it shows how productive the pre-colonial Filipinos during that time. And livestock were raised to sustain our daily needs. Second, too much instability. Again, one, there was conquest, especially in Mindanao and in northern Luzon. There was war outside of the Philippines. There was constant attacks of the Moros. Again, the forced labor and poverty. So with this, how can the Philippine people work hard if they do not even know if they would live another day? Okay. So during the typhoon, attacks of Moros were very rampant. As you can observe, if you notice, most of our our churches during that time, if you observe, are facing the sea. Why? Because it showed that because churches during the time were used to warn Filipinos if there are Moros that would attack our settlements. For example, if you observe Cathedral, Cebu Cathedral, it is facing the sea because during that time the tallest structure was the bell tower. Yeah, if 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 people could see that there are Moros coming, they would easily warn using the bell towers. That is why churches, especially the old ones, are facing the sea. Okay, so Spain cut off existing trade between the Philippines and China and Southeast Asia because again, prior to that, we have a healthy trade system with our fellow Asians. However, when the Spanish arrived, they monopolize our trading, wherein all our products must be traded through the galleon trade by way of Manila, Acapulco route. Okay? And because of this, the lack of outlets where people can sell their products, this incentivized the natives to produce goods and crops. It also led Filipino traders and artisans out of business, and it resulted in the neglect of agriculture. So gambling was also introduced by the Spaniards because pre-colonial period we don't have a concept of gambling. But when the Spaniards arrived, they introduced us gambling as a promise of sudden wealth, entertainment, and income because it was seen as, oh, para dali kayong makahanap ng pera. That is why Filipinos are fond of gambling because it was introduced during that time by the Spaniards where it a sudden promise of sudden wealth, di ba? Like scatter, bingo plus, di ba? That is why it's hard to remove these online gambling sites because again, most of them are owned by politicians. Diba? So it's hard to get out of that system. Okay? And it is not because it is part of our culture, but it was introduced by the Spaniards. Eight is lack of education. There was widespread lack of education in the country because you have to remember the system of public education or education for all was only introduced when the Americans came. Prior to that, there was no public education. And during that time, education was reserved only for ilustrados, such as Rizal, Luna, and the like. Most of our education during that time are extremely backward. Okay? And instead of motivating the natives to love their work and to find their passion, it instilled, the friars instilled into the mind of the children that they were inferior. And we should only follow what the friars and the authorities are taught to us. Okay? We were not taught to question or to research or to, to find out the reason why a thing is like that. So it was a backward educational system. Lastly, there was lack of national identity, lack of Filipino nationalism. According to Rizal, a man in the Philippines is only an individual. He is not a member of a nation. He is forbidden and denied the right of association and is therefore weak and sluggish. Because if there is no national identity, there is no unity among people and there is no resistance. And if there is no resistance, if there is resistance but not united, it is easily quelled and that abuses, injustices will continue. Okay? And that is always a problem of Filipinos. We don't have a national identity. Even in we are a one country, yet we compete. We have stereotypes among our fellow Filipinos. Diba? There is no unity. Most of our identity is regionalistic. Okay? Even our language is different. Diba? Even in one island, we have various languages. For example, if you go to Leyte, if you face Cebu, probably your Bisaya is more of Cebuano. Down south, like Hilongo, Sindang, the like is more of Bohol, Bisaya. Nakaidya Aho. If you are facing Samar, the more likely your language is Waray. So with that, we that is only one island, and we don't have a united front, diba? And we could see it in our system nowadays, diba? We ask for corrupt politicians to be jailed, yet some are asking BBM resign. Others do not like because Sarah will because some people do not like Sarah. So it is a there is no united identity among Filipinos. Okay, so the on the lens of the Filipino teaches us to understand that we should look at the root cause of social issues before reaching to an opinion. Deconstruct the common notions, dig deeper to its root causes before we can create or we can solve or create an opinion. Ah, So, um, for we have to look at the causes. Like for example, flood control. Why is it flood control? It's been there because part of uh, part of that is that why are politicians running when the salaries of politicians is very low compared to working in the private sector? Because we have the culture of impunity. Okay? From Marcos Senior down to Erap, down to other politicians that was accused of plundering the money of the nation because we have the culture of impunity. And sometimes you have this defeatist culture when sila lang na yung nag-corrupt. So we have to stop on the culture of impunity. If a politician, if a person is liable, he should be jailed and he should face the consequences of his action. Because that is one of the problems. We have the culture of impunity. Okay. So I hope you have learned a lesson. So thank you very much, guys.